Okay, picture two very different scenes for me for a moment.
Right.
Scene one, it's maybe 20 years ago. You're walking through a community, could be rural Jamaica, could be a quiet suburb in St. Andrea,
Sort of see it.
and you see a family, they're replacing an old board house with a concrete structure.
Mm.
Maybe they're finally taking down that rusty zinc fence and putting up a proper iron gate.
Well,
There's a mango tree in the yard, kids doing homework on the veranda. It's quiet, it's slow, but it's progress.
it's intimate progress. It's
Yeah.
like the kind of thing you celebrate with your neighbor over a cold drink, not with a megaphone.
Exactly. Now, scene two, today, you open your phone, you're on Instagram, maybe TikTok,
Yeah.
and what just hits you in the face?
Oh, I know this one.
Glossy, high-def drone shots flying over these massive mansions.
Huh.
Marble countertops, infinity pools, and those walkthrough videos with that triumphant, bass-heavy music that just screams, I have arrived.
A completely different energy. We've really gone from success being a private milestone, something for you and your family, to it being a public performance.
And a loud one. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are unpacking a fascinating, honestly, a slightly uncomfortable article from Jamaica Homes. It's called Rethinking Home, Success and Self-Worth in Jamaica.
And before you tune out thinking this is all about interest rates and square footage, it's not. This is psychology.
It really is. We're looking at how this digital age is, well, distorting our sense of self-worth. We're digging into the hidden cost of this loud success and how comparing your behind-the-scenes reality to someone else's highlight reel creates this very specific, very dangerous financial trap.
So if you've ever scrolled your feed, seen a house that looks like a hotel, and just felt that sinking feeling in your stomach, that feeling like you're falling behind in life,
This deep dive is for you. Let's get into it.
let's do it.
I want to start with that cultural shift you mentioned. The article calls it a move from neighborhood curiosity to digital surveillance. That feels a little aggressive. Is it really surveillance?
I think the word fits, but let's add some nuance. Look, house watching isn't new in Jamaica. It's practically a cultural pastime. There's that classic phrase, right? Dem, a build nice.
They are building nicely. Oh yeah, I've heard that a million times.
Right. But in the old context, that phrase was rooted in physical reality. You saw the neighbor mixing the cement. You saw the work stop for 3 months because money ran out.
You saw the sweat.
You saw the sweat. You might stop by the gate and ask who drew the plans. It was local, and it was grounded in the struggle of the build. You respected the process because you saw the process.
You saw the cement mixer, not just the finished, perfect driveway.
Exactly. The digital shift just removes the process entirely. Now, with a few taps, you're not just looking at a neighbor's new gate. You are peering into the master bedrooms of strangers. You're comparing tile finishes, imported fixtures.
And because you don't see the delays, it feels instant. It feels effortless.
And that changes how we process it mentally, fundamentally. When you see a finished product without the context of the struggle, it stops being inspiration.
And it becomes a benchmark.
It becomes a benchmark. Private milestones are now public yardsticks. And we start beating ourselves up with them.
And that's where the pressure really kicks in. The article mentions that a house in Jamaica has evolved into a symbol for something much heavier than just shelter. It's almost a character reference now.
It's shorthand for morality. In this climate, the implication is, if you own a big modern home, you are disciplined, you're smart, you are good, you've made it in a way that validates your entire personhood.
Which means the opposite must be true.
Yeah.
If I'm still renting, am I bad?
That's the danger. If you rent for too long, or if you build a house that's modest or, old style, the silence from the gallery is just deafening. You don't get the likes, you don't get the congrats with the fire emojis.
And that silence creates a stigma.
Absolutely. People start to feel like they're failing morally because they aren't keeping up aesthetically.
It's interesting you say that because I think we all do this kind of subconscious math. You see a 25-year-old on TikTok with a mansion, and your brain immediately starts calculating, what do they do? How much is that? Why am I not there?
That's what we call lifestyle speculation. And it's a trap because you're drawing these massive conclusions about their financial health based only on their spending. You're just assuming the visual equals stability.
And as we know, those two things are often not even distant cousins.
Often they're not even on speaking terms. You can look very rich while being very, very broke.
Which leads us to the second big theme, which I found so validating, the concept of the uneven ground. Dean Jones, the founder of Jamaica Homes, who's quoted a lot here, talks about the danger of benchmarking. But isn't looking sideways at your peers? Isn't that just human nature?
It is human nature, you're right. We're social animals, we figure out our status by looking at the tribe. But what Dean Jones argues is that in the specific context of Jamaican real estate, the playing field is so structurally uneven that benchmarking is, well, it's essentially useless.
How?
It's like trying to race someone who is starting 50 meters ahead of you, but you can't see the starting line, so you just think you're slow.
Okay, break that down for us. Give me a concrete example of this invisible head start, because I think people really need to hear this to let themselves off the hook.
Okay, let's take two houses. House A and House B. You see them on Instagram. Both are 4 bedrooms, both have the nice gate, fresh paint. Visually, they look identical.
So naturally, my brain assumes the owners are on the same financial level.
Right. But let's look at the invisible backstory. House A might be built on family land.
Okay, explain what that really means for a listener who might not grasp the sheer magnitude of that.
It's massive. In Jamaica, if you inherit the land or you're building on a plot your grandmother bought 40 years ago for next to nothing, you have removed the single biggest cost barrier to entry. You aren't buying the dirt.
You're just building the box on top.
You're just building the box. That owner might have 0 mortgage. They might have built it with cash over 10 years using family inheritance.
Okay, so House A is effectively debt-free or low debt. They're running a sprint on a flat track. What about House B?
House B might be a young professional who had to buy the land at 2024 market rates. They took out a huge mortgage. They leveraged themselves to the absolute hilt to get the finishes done quickly just to match the look of House A. They are drowning in monthly payments.
One missed paycheck away from disaster.
From foreclosure. But on Instagram,
They look exactly the same. They both have that new home post with the champagne emoji.
exactly the same. And that's terrifying. You're comparing your insides to someone else's outsides. You're feeling jealous of someone who might be having panic attacks every month about their mortgage payment.
And there's another layer to this, right? The currency difference. We have to talk about remittances and foreign income.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
The earn in dollars, build in yards phenomenon. You might be benchmarking yourself against someone who earns in US dollars or British pounds. Their purchasing power for construction materials, which are imported and expensive, is just vastly different from someone earning a local salary in Jamaican dollars.
So when I look at that house and think, I need to work harder, the truth might be I am working just as hard, but I'm fighting a currency exchange rate that the other person isn't.
Correct. The article calls this the level playing field illusion. When you benchmark yourself against an image without knowing the financial backstory, inheritance, foreign income, or massive debt, you risk making decisions based on optics rather than strategy.
Optics rather than strategy. Wow, that's a bumper sticker right there.
Mm.
It means we're making money decisions to look good, not decisions that are actually good for us.
And that leads to people overextending themselves. You rush to get the marble tiles because you think that's the standard, when the person you're copying might have put them on a credit card they can't pay off.
This connects to something else the article touched on, which I think is a huge source of anxiety. This cultural mismatch. We consume so much American media, HGTV, Selling Sunset. How is that shaping our expectations in a way that just doesn't fit Jamaica?
It's imposing a narrative that doesn't belong here. In the U.S., the standard story is very linear. It's a ladder. Step 1, rent. Step 2, save a deposit. Step 3, buy a starter home.
If you upgrade in 5 years.
Exactly. Sell it. Upgrade to your forever home. It's neat, it's tidy, it implies this constant upward mobility like a video game where you just keep leveling up.
But that's not the reality here.
The Jamaican reality, and this is something Dean Jones really emphasizes, is rarely linear. It's often circular, it's slow, it's multi-generational. But social media and that American narrative has convinced us that the Jamaican way is somehow wrong or backward.
So what does the valid Jamaican way actually look like? Because I feel like we've almost forgotten.
It looks like the incremental build, the classic strategy where you buy the land and maybe you just build the downstairs, you move in, the roof is flat, and there's steel rebar sticking out of the top, waiting for a second floor that might not come for another 5 or 10 years.
I grew up seeing that everywhere, the finished but unfinished house. But now people make fun of that.
Exactly. And here's the crucial point. In the world of finance, that is a brilliant strategy. You're building out of cash flow. You're not taking on interest-bearing debt. You are building at the speed of your income. It is incredibly smart. But social media hates it. A house with radar sticking out of the top doesn't get likes. It signals struggle to the online world. It looks unfinished. So young people are rejecting this smart, traditional path because they want that turnkey solution that looks good on day one.
We've basically demonized patience. We look at the rebar and see poverty. when really we should be seeing discipline.
We should see freedom, because that person with the rebar house probably has no mortgage. But we've equated patience with poverty, and that's the tragedy. Dean Jones has this quote here. He says, "A Jamaican house is often built with patience, not pressure. When we rush the process to impress, we sometimes mortgage our peace along with the property."
Mortgage our peace.
Yeah.
Man, that hits hard. It's not just the money you pay the bank. It's the mental toll of carrying a debt load that's too heavy just to maintain an image.
And that mental toll is completely invisible. You don't see the stress on the face of the person in the walkthrough video. You don't see the arguments about money. You just see the granite countertop.
Let's pivot to the money part, because there's this specific myth the article busts that I think we have to highlight. The myth of everybody qualifying.
Ah, yes.
I feel like when you get denied for a loan or you can't get the mortgage you want, it feels so personal. It feels like the system is rigged against you.
It feels like gatekeeping.
Yeah.
You think, but my friend got a loan and we have the same job. Why did the bank say no to me?
Right. Is the bank judging my vibes? Do they not like my face? What is it?
I can assure you, the bank does not care about your vibes. They don't care about your aesthetic ambition. This is where we need cold, hard financial realism. The article stresses that lenders do not operate on comparison. They operate on risk algorithms.
So walk us through the boring stuff they actually look at.
They look at your debt service ratio, the DSR. This is the big one. Basically, how much of your monthly income is already eaten up by car loans, credit card debt, student loans. If that number is too high, you are a risk. Period.
They also look at income stability.
Yeah.
Right. Not just how much you make.
Exactly. How long have you made it? They look at your credit history, your age. So if I have a high salary, but I'm drowning in consumer debt because I'm trying to live that lifestyle, driving the nice car, wearing the brands, I'm actually a worse candidate than someone with a lower salary but zero debt.
100%. And this is where that social pressure completely backfires.
It does. People see their peers buying, so they rush to apply before they've cleared that debt. They get rejected and they feel like failures. But the rejection wasn't a moral judgment. It was a mathematical reality check.
The article suggests we should actually see rejection differently. Not as a door slamming shut, but as what?
As protection.
Mhm.
It sounds counterintuitive, I know. But if a bank tells you, you cannot afford this mortgage, they are literally saving you from yourself. Financial realism isn't pessimism, it's strategy. A rejection is usually just a not yet.
It means go fix your DSR, save a bigger deposit, and come back.
Right. But because we want the house now for the gram, we interpret not yet as never. And that creates this sense of desperation where real trouble can start.
So if we strip away the Instagram filters, the drone shots, the American timelines, what are we left with? How does the source material suggest we should redefine the Jamaican dream?
We have to expand the definition beyond just brick and mortar. For way too long, we've equated the dream with the physical structure. The bigger the house, the bigger the dream.
But you can have a huge house and a miserable life.
Correct. The article argues for a definition of success that includes independence, family continuity, contribution to your community, and most importantly, peace of mind.
The ability to sleep at night.
The ability to weather hard seasons. That's a phrase from the text that I love. If your mortgage is so high that 1 month of lost income, say a pandemic happens, you lose a client, if one bad month ruins you, you don't have success. You have fragility.
You have a fragile house of cards that just happens to look like a concrete mansion.
Precisely. Real success is resilience. It's having a smaller mortgage payment so you can still save for your kids' education. It's living in a house that's maybe less aesthetic but allows you to travel or invest in a business.
There's a line in the notes here. Stability doesn't always photograph well, but it lasts.
It's so true. You can't take a selfie with your low debt-to-income ratio. It's boring content. Nobody's going to like a post of your bank statement showing a healthy emergency fund. But that boring stability is what actually builds generational wealth.
So the real flex isn't the square footage. The real flex is that you own the house. The house doesn't own you.
That is it. That is the entire shift we need to make. We need to start respecting quiet stability over loud success.
So for the listener who has been nodding along, maybe feeling a bit called out, or maybe just feeling relieved, what is the actionable advice here? How do we stop this comparison spiral?
Dean Jones offers 3 main takeaways. First, you have to accept that your timeline is not wrong just because it's different from what you see online. If you need to build in stages over 10 years, build in stages. That is a valid, smart Jamaican strategy. Owe it.
Don't let a TikTok trend dictate your financial life.
Second, acknowledge that your starting point is not a failure. If you're starting from zero, no family land, no inheritance, that is not a moral failing. That is just the hand you were dealt. Don't beat yourself up for not being at the finish line when you had to build the entire racetrack yourself.
That's powerful. It's about giving yourself some grace. And the third,
Build for the long haul, not for the audience. The goal is to build something that can withstand economic shifts, hurricanes, life changes, not just something that impresses strangers on the internet who will scroll past your house in 3 seconds anyway.
that brings us to the final thought. Dean Jones has this closing quote in the article that says, "The strongest homes I've seen weren't the flashiest. They were owned by people who understood their limits and built within them."
Built within their limits. That requires so much courage in a world that tells you to max out everything. It is the ultimate act of rebellion today, being content with enough.
I want to leave everyone with a little provocation, something to carry with you the next time you open up that app.
Go for it.
We've talked about the pressure, the surveillance, the uneven ground. But ask yourself this. If you stripped away the ability to post your home on social media, I mean, it's gone. No Instagram, no Facebook, no WhatsApp status. If literally no one but you and your immediate family would ever see your home,
Would you still build the same house?
would you still need those specific imported tiles? Would you still need that massive facade that cost an extra $2 million? Or would your definition of enough change completely?
That is the ultimate question, isn't it? Are you building for your life, or are you building for an audience?
Something to think about. That's it for this deep dive into the real cost of Jamaican real estate success.
Thanks for listening. Build wisely.
Catch you next time.